gosh, what a
Okay.
beautiful day.
I think we're live.
Okay.
Starting.
Starting.
Okay, we now have an end live video button.
Okay.
So if we can end it, that means I think
We've started
we
it.
did it.
Oh yeah, there's 10 seconds.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Get
Okay.
us in there nicely. Okay. Welcome back.
Thank you. Here we are again for another great conversation.
We talked to each other
We
for
did.
like 40 minutes of beautiful
It's wonderful.
conversation.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna open to you, like, what bubbles up in connection with what showed up from the universe from this experience. So for those of you who may not realize, we went live at 11:11.
We were live.
There was a button that said live, and we were in it. And then I got to the end, and I was like, I can't. Where did it go? And we're like, we'll give it a little time, and it never reappeared itself.
Right.
And again, this is called the power of alignment. It's about connecting in with nature and universal law. So what kind of what bubbles up in this moment around that experience?
Well, I feel like we were talking in the last video about not having control. So we don't have any control, in case we were thinking we did.
Yeah.
And I also think the universe has plans that we don't know about. And they're always better and in alignment. And whatever we were talking about was great for us, but maybe not what you all needed. And so maybe that will happen now.
Yeah. Okay, so control.
Yeah, control.
Versus high level. Well, these are words that came out, but still, I think we need to touch on this because I think this is really important.
Yeah.
High level cooperation, collaboration, and creativity. So yeah, I mean, even in that moment when I realized, like, it's like I could feel my body, our breath change, like that, like there was this contraction that was happening. It was like, that wasn't supposed to happen.
Right. Like, wait a minute, no, that was great. It can't be gone.
Yeah, and I think in our life right now, we're having that experience quite a bit.
I think
right?
It's
being like the universe is just like, you think that you have control over anything, and I'm really going to show you that you don't.
Right.
So this is a different way to think about, the experience of COVID and lockdown and beyond that, all the other experiences that have showed up politically on the planet right now. So intense. But when we shift the perspective to what you said before, like, the universe has bigger plans, and it's like our little minds and our big massive hearts still can understand, like, such a teeny tiny little
right. And I also think releasing expectations, and that was our expectation, was we were going to do that, and it was done, and it was great.
We're moving right along. You got this to do, I got that to do, and everything was like, no,
it's not how it's going to be today.
It's not how it's going to be. It wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right space. So, like, one of the things that I've discovered and learned is, like, that way of being where it's like, okay, we're going to take action, and here's step A, and here's step B, and there's C, and there's D, and here's the outcome. Like, linear is really the course that most of us, live in. But I don't, that's not the way nature does things. There are these bigger cyclical patterns that are connected in ways that we can see and ways that we can't.
Right.
But even if it's something that we can't fully see the bigger picture in that moment, there's always, like, these little signs that are guiding us that help us to be able to, like little breadcrumb trails.
Yes.
From the universe.
If we're paying attention.
Yeah, if we're paying attention, that are there for us, that are trying to guide us and support us while we're in that process, and not helping us with not feeling like, if I can't get from here to here and be able to see a clear path to my destination, then I'm going to feel out of control. I'm going to feel like I'm in chaos. I'm going to go into worry, fear, manipulation, whatever else we might want to go to. So it's like the piece of accepting that there's that bigger picture, which is really important right now. And then
we don't have control.
We don't have control, accepting both of those sides, but then dropping into, okay, so if that is the truth of our reality on this planet, there's got to be something else that we're not fully aligning with, that we're not fully tuning into, that can support us. It's trying to show itself.
Yeah. Yeah. So then aligning, bringing it back to the beginning of our first conversation, aligning with nature and the power of the universe, aligning ourselves with that and connecting with that, connecting within ourselves and connecting with all of the support around.
Yes.
All of the signs that we're seeing, all of the support that we're being given. It's all there. But we could have chosen after that to get really irritated and contracted and mad, and that's going to color everything. But instead, we chose to relax into it, know that there was a purpose for that, and accept that, and then move on. And now we're out here in on this beautiful day.
Yeah, our first video was we did it inside, and I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I want to be outside, so let's go outside and just. Has anyone ever noticed that when you're feeling in that space where things are feeling a little chaotic or contracted, and you walk outside and it's just like, there's just this level of you're being held. Because the truth is, like, all the little experiences that get us all like, the earth is like, hey, that's nothing. I got this. Yeah. Let me show you another way. Right. So when you have that feeling, enjoy it, but then perhaps see, okay, you know, how does nature handle her process? Like, what is she doing that I might be able to see and reflect on? And because we're connected with nature, we're part of nature. And everything around us and the change of the seasons is connected with literally the way our organs function in our bodies. So it can, the highest level of our organ function, if it were to reach its maximal potential, is revealed to us through the shifts and signs of nature.
So I think it'd be great for us to talk about this season from a Chinese medicine perspective, and then some of the work that I'm doing. If we can repeat a little bit of that conversation.
Yeah, because that felt really powerful. Yeah. And I think one of the pieces that feels super powerful around this for me is it's the lung and the large intestine that are the season of fall. So think about what the lung and the large intestine do. There are two things that are necessary for life to continue, right? We have to breathe. We have to poop. We have to eliminate. Now, that process isn't going to look the same. Every single breath is going to be different, moment to moment. Every single bowel movement, I don't care what the textbooks might say a perfect one looks like, is going to be different. The reason is because there are a zillion trillion different factors that influence our breath. There are physical factors, there are emotional factors, and the same thing with our bowels. It's not just the foods we eat. It has to do with function, and it very much has to do with our emotions and processing. So they are organ systems that mirror for us the possibility of having a clear structure and a clarity, because they have to be super clear. I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to let this go. I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to let this go. And if the body isn't doing this, like literally, you're not going to be able to oxygenate properly. Literally, you know, you're not going to be able to eliminate properly, and a lot of stuff is going to get stuck. So they show us the possibility of structure, but with this high level, I call it quantum flexibility. And you're also wearing metal. Can you pull up your beautiful gold? So the element of the lung and large intestine is metal. I have a little bit on. No, not as brilliant as hers. So when we think about metal, like literally at an atomic level, like it feels like, okay, it's solid, it's hard, it's dense. But when we would look with an electron microscope, you would see the electrons. They vibrate at a higher frequency than any other element. So technically, there's more space and more possibility. So part of the way, without getting too out there in the quantum world, I see that is like, these organs have to be so ultra sensitive and connected and aware of not only what's happening in here, but also what's happening all around us, the energies that are happening, and they adjust moment to moment, like at this faster than speed of light level. Like we're going to hold on to this, we're going to let go of this, we're going to hold on to this, we're going to let go. It's not controlling, but it's
Beautiful lesson.
really tuned in.
Beautiful lesson.
Tuned. And it feels like those are what they've always been about.
Mhm.
But being in this fall right now with all the crazies that are going on around us, it's like even more like align yourself, like align with that power that's there for you, that you can be so fine tuned. Where I think, a different way of seeing it is like, I feel like my yes and no are really clear right now.
Right.
Like when I'm enrolled in this program that I spent a lot of money for. And when I first enrolled in it, it's like a marketing thing. I was like, yes. And I was like, yes. I want this. And then all of a sudden I started to get indigestion. Like I would start watching the videos and I was like, oh, no.
That doesn't sit right.
No. And when I had that experience, I'm like, oh, it doesn't align for me anymore. And if I continue to take this in, I'm going out of alignment. It's going to create issues for me. And I'm going to have to figure out. And I'm going to have to not get controlling and angry and manipulative about this. I need to see that this is my truth. This is my no. I had my yes. But I feel like that's happening a lot. Like the choice points of getting really, really crystal clear and like, I'm going this way. I'm going that way. I'm going this way.
Yeah, I feel like COVID has really done that for us. Yeah.
Yes.
What's important? What's right now? Anchor in. How do you do that? And then all the fluff has to go.
Yes.
All the fluff has to go.
Well, the other piece is that this isn't going to help you to figure out how to deal with what's happening right now. You go here and you try to get the science behind something, or you try to listen to this person who says this and this person that says that. The rational mind is going to blow up. And that's another part of the lesson is like, it's guiding you to a deeper inner knowing. And I remember feeling this like when we first went into quarantine of like, okay, I know that I really need to go deep and really honor whatever I'm feeling. I don't care what anybody else is saying. If I feel I need to mask, if I feel we need to not go there or go there, it's like I need to guide myself from that inner alignment perspective.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do too. And I check in with that often. Well, I check in daily, but especially if I'm having an issue, and I do this all the time with COVID. Like I read this, because I love research and I'm very interested in COVID on so many different levels, psychosocial, emotional, mental, all of it, just the biology of it. So I've been studying a lot about it, but then my brain, like you said, my brain starts to go crazy. Like, oh, well, what about this? Well, they said that, or they said this, or what do we do now? And then I just get quiet and I go within, and then I have the knowing. I have the feeling of the knowing. What is right for me.
Right? So even like the breath, like when things get crazy and chaotic, we tend to contract and hold our breath in because we're scared to fully feel, or we think that we can kind of control things with the breath. But even just like allows enough space for you to connect into that inner knowing.
I've read too that you can't worry when you're focused on your breath. When you're breathing and you're focused on your breath, then that's your focus. It's a resting in the moment, resting in the presence.
Yeah.
And then that leaves space for alignment.
The alignment is natural. Like it's what wants to be there all the time, but we're pulling ourselves off center for so many different reasons. And it's so big and so real with the intensities that we're in. But with that being said, it's so big and so real of how powerful it is when you do get in connection with that truth. And just like when you find yourself out of alignment, just like if you were driving, it's like, oh, I feel it. It's just being tuned in those moment to moments so you can feel when, so it doesn't have to be something extreme that gets you to realize that you've been off course.
And we were talking in our first conversation about how tuning in with nature helps us to align, helps us to find our center and our alignment, and tuning into what's going on in nature right now and what you're seeing in nature and how it can support you, because there's support all around. And this time of year is, we're heading, in a couple of weeks, we're heading into the fall equinox. So that is a time of perfect light and darkness. So it's an opportunity and an invitation to look at the light and the dark within. And both of those are important. They're equally important. The darkness is there to help you grow, just as the light is there to help you grow. and taking a look at how the light and the dark are balanced within yourself. And then the vegetables that are growing now this time of year, root vegetables are coming on now. So how can we root? How can we root into the present? How can we root into ourselves, a higher power, the divine this season? Plants that are growing. Right behind my shoulder, you can see goldenrod. So goldenrod is blooming right now, and you see goldenrod everywhere. Goldenrod's this beautiful yellow, and it grows in the cracks of a sidewalk. And I've read that it's the first thing that comes back after a forest fire in the forest. So goldenrod is a sign of resilience. So when we see goldenrod, we can think of our own resilience in difficult environments, which we're in now, and how we can still bloom and be so beautiful. So can we use this goldenrod? We can make a flower essence of this. We can make a tincture. We can just put it in a vase and have it in our space. And then lemon balm is doing beautifully right now, and that's for viruses and immune system. And then I had this is just what I had in my yard. This is just what nature is offering right now. And this is feverfew for headaches and migraines and tension. So there are so many different ways when we tune in to nature that it's mirroring what's inside, and it's supporting and giving us lessons. Yes, if we're aware, and we can use that support and those lessons. Yes. Animals. What animals are you seeing? Yes. And what does that represent? I was thinking on the way over here a few years ago, my friend and I were doing this house tour. It was like a new construction house tour downtown. And, we were talking the whole time, and we get in the car and go to the next place. We got in the car the first place, and this dragonfly was flying all around the car, and it buzzed right in front of us, like right in front of the windshield, and it just hovered there, like as if to get our attention. Like, I know you've been seeing me, but you're talking and you're not paying attention. And then every house we stopped at, there was a dragonfly hovering around our car. Every single house, like 5 times. So we looked up dragonfly, and of course it was exactly what we were talking about, our struggles and the topics that we were talking about. So that's the symbol of our friendship, is the dragonfly.
Oh, I love
so
that.
if we're aware, there's so much support in nature that's mirroring what's inside.
It's beautiful. And, to speak to what fall is all about, in order for the transformation of the leaves, and this is one piece that you had mentioned too, it's like, it's gorgeous to see those trees back there and their greens, but who can't wait for that big show?
Yeah, that's right.
The transformation of the color.
Yeah.
So before the leaves transition, because that's what's happening, they're going to die, they have a final big show. So in a way, it's like, when a flower blooms, it's peak chi, it's the peak energy. And that's it. That's it. It gives up the fullness of its beauty. And then it's like, all right, moving right along. I'm going to let that go. I don't need to hold on to it because I'm not going to last through the winter that way. Right. So the same thing with the trees. It's like they know this is it. These my little babies, my little green babies out there. Let them have one final stage performance. And then they let go. And they fertilize the earth for the next cycle of things. But in order for that to happen, there's an inward turning of the energy. So the energy that's been so out there with spring and summer starts drawing in. So that's happening too, which is guiding us to attune, to tune in, to listen in and pay attention even more to what do we need to sort through so that we can fully shine our beauty this fall. So whatever you need to focus on, it's like we have the season that we can look at, and we have the season of our lives that's always cycling. So whatever physical things, whatever experiences are showing up are guiding you. That's where you focus your attention. Look at me. Sort through me. How can we figure this out so that you naturally can let it go and not carry that into the winter time when we should be conserving.
And letting go. We were talking about earlier, the leaves letting go makes such fertile ground for new growth. Yes. So we need to let go in order to go into that next phase. I think that's sometimes a challenge, to let go. But nature does it so beautifully.
Yeah,
we can just mirror that.
That's been the piece for me, especially for some reason this fall, because just to say, hey, just let it go. when something is let go, it's because you've done the processing that
Right.
prepared you to
Right.
get to the point where it just happens naturally, just
Right.
like nature does it. Right, with
Good
grace
point.
and ease,
Yeah.
not with a fight,
Right.
not with force.
Yeah.
So again, it's like, what's coming up for you right now? Is it seasonal allergies? Is it, is it headaches? Is it a particular pattern that you're seeing in your connections and relationships? Whatever was rising up is what's asking you to draw in and put your focus there on supporting, working through that, and that's naturally going to help you to let go of that pattern. So, yeah.
Because we can't force that.
Nope. No, because if something is there for you, it's there for a purpose and a reason. And if you forcibly try to rip it out, it's going to come right back in a different way.
Right.
Because you weren't done with it yet. But when you are done with it, the processing of whatever that experience is, physical, emotional, again, it's just gone. You're over it.
I think the putting your attention on what you're ready to let go of is so powerful. And asking, I think we get stuck in these stories, like this is my story, this is my healing story, or this is my sick story. And then all of a sudden, and we don't realize, oh, that's changed. That's not where I'm at anymore. Can I let go of that? What do I need to let go of? Oh, I'm not sick anymore. And me saying that I'm healing, is that really helping me? No, I'm ready to let go of that. This is my story. I'm ready to let go of that. So I'm in a new place right now, and I don't have to keep saying I'm healing. That was serving me. I'm healing was serving me. It's not serving me anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm in a different place. So changing my words, changing my thoughts, changing my focus. I'm ready to let go of that.
Beautiful, because then you create the space for whatever new level of connection is going to come in. Okay, that feels good.
Yeah.
Anything else you feel called to share from your experience? I know I'd love to touch in about your soul circle group.
Yeah. So I host monthly gatherings of women. We do sometimes in person, sometimes online. Our next one is September 22nd. And maybe I can include in the comments information about how you can join if you're interested in doing that. And we follow the Celtic Wheel of the Year, which is aligned with nature. So we'll be looking at what's happening in nature right now and how is that mirrored within myself. So we'll have discussion, we'll have journaling opportunities, we'll have a guided meditation experience to really connect in with yourself and feel that alignment. Sometimes we do movement. I'm not sure exactly what is going to happen. It all bubbles up and is channeled through, so I don't know exactly what will happen on the 22nd, but we'll be focusing on what's happening this time of year. So a lot of what we're talking about in this conversation, really, a lot of these same themes. So that is, I'll just put in the comments the link to my website where you can find out more information about that. We do those every month.
Awesome. And the last little plug-in I'm going to give is about the Relationship Renewal Workshop. So we have an introduction that's going to happen on September 16th. It's a free online workshop at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and we'll post the link for that too. And that's really like an appetizer for a deeper dive that's going to be available beginning in October, which we'll touch on a little bit during that workshop as well. Relationship, because everything is about connection and relationship. Relationship of you to nature, relationship of you to others, relationship of you
to yourself, to the divine.
So any final words on what that workshop, like a little teaser?
Yeah, little teaser. Well, I'm doing it with two other amazing energy workers. Paula Lord and Heather Meyer is a therapist, and we'll be talking about relationship with self. We'll be doing a meditation to connect with yourself. We'll be doing some energy work to clear and release, and we'll be learning some practical tools and some strategies for deepening your relationship with self, so that you can show up as your fullest and best to another relationship. Paula has this beautiful analogy where you think of your relationship as a bucket, and what are you putting into the bucket and taking out of the bucket, and what are whoever you're in relationship with putting into the bucket and taking out of the bucket. You want to be showing up as your best. You want to be putting your best into the bucket. And then are you able to take anything out of the bucket? Because we're taking in and out of the bucket. Can you receive? Can you give? It's difficult for a lot of us to receive.
Wow. Beautiful. Well, I can't wait.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
returning,
Of course.
joining me, and enjoy your beautiful weekend. And we'll post about those upcoming events in the comments.
Bye.
Bye.